May 26, 2020. Guys, you're looking at the last 24 hours of satellite images over the U.S. Now, in the north, it's basically dry except all the way up into Washington, but California, especially Southern California and Arizona, guys, you were expected to have 112-degree temperatures today. It's a excessive heat wave, and you can see how dry that area is. And where it's been piling in, you can see where it's pushing this moisture that's been over Texas and getting all these tornadoes. It's pushing it more to the east. Now, what's happened? If you look at this and go back into the floodings in the dams breaking up in Michigan, we've had a pretty good moisture pump coming out of the Gulf of Mexico and going due north. And check this out. It's continuing now. See that? You see activity off the coast of Mexico and Texas. But also, not only the system that we're watching, which is now up to a 30% chance of development, but all way back, you would go southeast towards the Bahamas, large area of thunderstorms there. Now, we'll look at the highlights on this system that's off the coast of Florida, but something I want to point out is with this moisture pump that's coming off the Gulf, we're setting up for the early hurricane season that would come from off the Yucatan Peninsula and between there and Cuba. You understand what I'm saying? And there's 3 models that are watching the same thing. Now, there's no one's naming a storm or a low pressure system or anything like that. But we're going to look at those models. Again, I just wanted to kind of show you what's going on. Now, the update came in at 4:50 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And we are now up to, again, a 30% chance of development. It's basically the same information. And you can see that this very center of this X is offshore. And it could come ashore anywhere between Georgia, South Carolina, as of the 5-day forecast. Now, what a lot of the people are talking about in the weather business is the storm moving up and then moving inland. Okay, what that would do is weaken the storm, but it could increase the chance of additional rain and flooding. Okay, but again, we were looking at all this moisture pumping out of the Gulf this way, and this time of the year in this entire area, from the Yucatan into the Caribbean to Cuba, in the Bay of Campeche, we have to watch for systems. It's early, that's where they usually start. And so we've already got a very strong moisture and air pump that's coming out of this area. Let's look at about 3 of these models. Now, we're looking at foxhurricane.com. It's one of the links on our website. You can see hurricanes, and you go down, you'll see Fox Hurricane info. But if we play this forward, this is the system, and you notice that it immediately turned inward around the South Carolina, North Carolina border. But look what's happening just east of the Yucatan here and over into the Atlantic. And then we have a very large area of development that pushes in through Louisiana. Watch this. As we see everything develop, and again, it's multiple models. That's why I wanted to talk about it. It's not just the global forecast system, which this one is. But right there, that is June the 7th. Now, I know that's out a few days, and they're just setting up the potential of what we're seeing with this moisture pump. By June the 8th, the system is coming ashore somewhere along the mouth of the Mississippi River. And we know this changes, and this is an advanced model. It goes out a few days, but we're setting up for that early system. Now, again, this is global forecast system. Let's look at 2 more. And another model that I use quite often is the Canadian model and the NavGem, the Navy model. But we'll play this through a couple of times. Here's a system coming into the Gulf off the Yucatan Peninsula, into the northern part of the Bay of Campeche. That's as far as this model goes out, but you see the development. It's matching that of the global forecast system. Right there. It doesn't go out as far as many days. And also notice, here's a storm we're watching now. It comes ashore around the South Carolina, North Carolina border. Now, it's not expected to develop to a huge storm or anything, but there's already a tremendous amount of high clouds and moisture associated with this, all the way again back into the northern Bahamas. But this is the Canadian model. Let's look at one more. Again, we're seeing this system developing into the southern Gulf. Now, this is the U.S. Navy model called NAVGEM. And you'll first see the storm come in here, and here it shows it coming ashore into South Carolina, just north of the Georgia line. It's a little different. They put different parameters into each of the models, and that's what we're seeing. But notice here, we have low pressure system developing in the the Pacific Ocean and moving north, like we're seeing this system that's pumping the air north across the southern U.S. It's also developing here, guys. So, but again, it doesn't go out but until June the 3rd. The other one went out to June the 7th. So we'll keep an eye on it. We're getting into that time of the year. But the Gulf has already started turning into a heat and moisture pump. We see that. I said earlier with the first storm that we watched that it would be an early season. And I think that it's going to live up to that. You also see low pressure developing out into the mid-Atlantic here. Not as low as the other ones, but it's just getting into that time of the year right there. But this is where we're going to have to watch as far as the Gulf states, right there. And we know that they will change anywhere from passing south of the tip of Florida into going into South Texas. But we're watching this, guys. You watch it. It's a heads up. Be safe.